UConn's undefeated title shot starts with two players, Azzi Fudd and Sarah Strong. You're on the Hoops Cap.
Let's get it, 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 let's get it. Yeah. UConn, baby. Home of the champions. Let's go.
Welcome into the Hoops Cap Pod. I'm your host, Mark Zanetto. First off, thank you to everyone who's subscribing. We see the numbers growing up every week, really daily, and it truly means a ton to us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to all things Big East Energy, and thank you for making us a part of your weekly routine and soon your daily routine. And also some really exciting news for those football fans. We are officially launching the Big Football Energy channel. And it's kicking off with a brand new UConn football show debuting this Friday called The Rent is Due. If you bleed Husky Blue, you're not going to want to miss it. Friday morning, it'll drop. I'm excited for it. But let's get some other quick housekeeping. Subscribe to that new football channel. If you haven't subscribed to our Big East Energy channel, do it now. You can check us out on our website, bigenergymediapods.com. How else can you support us? You can give us a super thanks on YouTube. You can give us a monetary present on Cash App at Big East Energy, and then Zelle, bigeastenergy@gmail.com. It all goes to the hosts and to the company as a whole so that we can continue putting up great content. Okay, so we're doing kind of if you haven't noticed, we're doing a series of two players at a time on the men and the women's side. This time we're doing the women's. And you know, the two players that you have to talk about are Azzi Fudd and Sarah Strong. So, and when it comes to UConn women's basketball, this season, coming off a 12th national championship, the expectations are through the roof, sky high. And for Azzi Fudd, they're going to be even higher, maybe unfair at times. But that's the standard when you play for UConn, a program with 12 national titles and 24 Final Fours. Azzi is expected to expand her leadership role. She's got to be more vocal, set the tone, and become almost like another coach on the floor, the way Gino and Paige had that rapport where it almost looked like they couldn't stand each other. But the reality is it was a great coach and player combo, right? I think she's going to be very excited to become the focal point of this offense, even with another player of the year candidate next to her in Sarah Strong, who we'll get to next. Her resume already speaks for itself. She's a national champion, multiple Final Fours, come back from injury. So there's been adversity that she's been able to overcome. And she's absolutely going to be a favorite for the Big East Player of the Year and one of the favorites for National Player of the Year candidate. You're going to probably hear that a couple times in this episode. But this year, in particular, because of how much talent is on this team, and we're going to focus on Azzi and Sarah right now, there is going to be a likelihood of undefeated talk right from the jump. So let's talk about that. Is she really going to be a player of the year candidate? I absolutely think she will be, but will she be legitimately? I think in name only. I think you saw the type of player Azzi Fudd is in the Final Four. She had 19 against UCLA, 24 against South Carolina, and really kind of was one of the driving forces that dominated that Final Four. But she averaged about 13.5 points a game, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. She was close to being a 50, 40, 90 player. She was 40. I think she was 45% from the field, 43% from 3, and 91% from the free throw line. She's way too good of a shooter to not be a 50% field goal shooter. So I think she could potentially get those numbers up. But she's going to have to jack those numbers up to those Final Four levels if she's going to be in the running as a player of the year. And because this team is so good, and because when we get to Sarah Strong, she's already kind of has those elite numbers of like 17 points, 9 rebounds, multiple blocks a game, where she's going to be in the running. I made this comparison to when you have a really good quarterback and running back, a quarterback and wide receiver in college football, and they're both Heisman candidates. A lot of times they split the vote. So there is a good likelihood that both of these players are the two best players in college basketball, but they don't win player of the year because they don't stand out as much. I know that sounds stupid, but that's the reality of it. So what else is there to kind of look for and root for these players? Obviously, you want them to be good people and to continue the trajectory of which they've started at UConn. But I think perfection is the goal. And it sounds so ridiculous. Like, hey, our goal is to go undefeated. But I mean, I think every team wants to win every game they play. And unlike most programs, perfection is actually attainable at UConn. It's been done multiple times in stores. They absolutely have the talent to go 40-0, especially with AZ and then Sarah being the heads of the spear. So the only thing that can really derail them are the kinds of lapses we saw last year mentally, right? Breakdowns on defense at Notre Dame has nothing to do with AZ. She didn't even play. A sloppy loss in Knoxville against Tennessee. But what are going to be the pitfalls for this team losing an upset in regular season, or unfortunately, if hopefully it doesn't happen in the tournament, which would be a massive upset, is essentially a lack of vocal leadership when things start going off the rails. Because let's face it, women's basketball is so much better now than when I was a kid, or even when I was a 20-something-year-old guy. Now I'm about to be in my mid-40s at 44 here at the end of this month. There's a better likelihood that they could lose a game. However, it's not likely based off of how much talent they have. You still have Gino Auriemma. You still have a bunch of talent. Yeah, I mean, you probably have the first and second teams could both be ranked in the top 10. That's how good this team could potentially be. Like if you took the 7 best players on UConn and then you took 8 through 15 and you separated them, one team is going to be ranked number 1, one team's going to be ranked like 8th or 9th. So there's not going to be this massive drop-off, especially when we're talking about the freshmen who are now going to be sophomores, the transfers that have come in. And I'm going on a tangent because you need someone to take the reins. The way Paige could tell people, hey, we're doing this, and then it gets done. If AZ can continue to learn to be a better leader vocally and by example, this team is going to be untouchable. So what AZ needs to improve on from a schematically scoring off the bounce, maybe showing she can handle some point guard duties to kind of spell KK, to spell Khalees Fisher, and even Kaylee Heckel. But especially in like pick and roll actions with her new running mate, Sarah Strong, or maybe with Jenna Elfie or Sarah Williams. So there's an opportunity for her to get better so she can showcase that for the next level, but also just to improve this team. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, and the reason why I'm going to tell you this right now, this pod is going to be about 5 to 7 minutes shorter than the pod on Alex and Solo. And the reason why is because the women are more finished product. There's less questions about the women's team than there are the men, and there's less that they have to improve on. It's just a reality of the situation. So when we return, we're going to talk about Sarah Strong, my pick for the National Player of the Year, and she's pretty damn good. She might actually end up being the best player to ever put on a UConn jersey. So we're going to talk about that after the break.
Big East Energy. Ryan Gresh here with the Feel Good Lab. And the same tools that we use to help elite athletes like Hassan Diarra, Nika Mule, and our very own Cam Spencer are the same things that we use to help people like you and I. People that want to optimize their overall health, feel a little bit younger, or are suffering from a chronic condition. And it's all about reducing inflammation, improving the nutrients in our body, and fixing our gut. And the way that we do that is not through a one-size-fits-all model. Everything is personalized. We offer products that are plant-based, natural, and help you identify the root cause. And oftentimes, we're looking at what's going into our body. So we have a food inflammation test, a gut microbiome test, so that we can treat you like an individual human that you are. And so the thing that we're the most excited about is actually connecting with you. Whether you're a UConn fan or not, please reach out, call us. We'd love to talk with you and see how we can help. Best in health.
And you're back on the Hoopscat Pod with your host, Mark Zanetto. Make sure you subscribe to Big East Energy. That was our friend, Ryan Gresh, who owns and runs the Feel Good Lab. You probably saw him on Good Morning America. Did a fantastic job of promoting his product, which absolutely works. Don't take it from me. Take it from all the good folks at GMA. I mean, I'm sure he got a ton of orders through that, and I'm super excited about continuing to partner with him. Again, don't forget to subscribe to Big Football Energy, our new football show, We will have a betting show on that. We're going to have a UConn football show. And so, yeah, the sky's the limit for kind of big energy media pods as a whole. So anyway, back to the women here and Sarah Strong. Sarah is, I mean, listen, she might have been arguably the best all-around player in the country last year as a freshman. She averaged 16.4 points, 8.9 rebounds, will run it up to 9. So about 16 and 9, plus 3.5 assists, and 2.5 steals, and almost 2 blocks at 1.7. 58% field goal shooter, almost 40% from 3 at 39%, and a 75% free throw shooter. You need to jack that up. Get it over 80. My dad always told me, you shoot 70%, you're a decent shooter. You shoot 80% from free throw line, you're a really good shooter. You shoot 90%, you're elite, right? So would love to see her get that that free throw percentage. Okay, nitpicking, right? Get your free throw percentage up, Sarah. Hit me up. I know you live close to Raleigh. We'll work on our free throws together. I was a pretty good free throw shooter, so let's get those numbers up, girl. But at the same time, like literally, I'm nitpicking because she doesn't need to work on much. But as any good coach or any good trainer would tell you, there's always things you can improve on. So what do we expect from her, right? Come in, number 1 recruit, win a national championship, dominate in the Final Four. I think she's expected to continue being that multifaceted star right away. Sarah can dominate in so many places on the court, in the post, stretch the floor with her three-point shooting, and even put the ball on the deck to create some havoc and potentially pass, because she is a really good passer, super underrated. She's already regarded, not just by me, but by basketball people and media alike, as the best all-around player in college basketball, because she is. If you can name me a better all-around player, I'm going to tell you that you're wrong. And there's nothing wrong with being wrong. That's free. So is doing this show, right? Having an opinion is free. Having a wrong opinion is even more free. And she only has 1 season under her belt, but she's absolutely the best player in college basketball. If the WNBA changed their rules where you could go pro at any time in college, she'd be a pro already. Maybe I'm wrong because maybe her parents want her to get her education, and that's also fair. But if it's strictly about the basketball, she's easily the number 1 pick in the draft. I don't care what you say. Maybe not last year because of Paige, but 1 or 2 this year, she'd be the number 1 pick in the draft. I don't care about Hannah Hidalgo. I don't care about Juju Watkins coming off of an injury. Sarah Strong, knock on wood, healthy, happy, just a straight up dagger. She's the Tim Duncan of women's basketball. She doesn't say anything. She just dominates you. She smiles. She probably looks a little awkward on the podium. Gino has fun with her. I was there in a post-game interview where he basically talked about how she's a child, right? She's going to mature. She's going to get even better, right? She was part of that, the success she already had, right? She won a championship. She was a big reason why Paige and Azzi delivered that title together. It's sometimes it's hard as she's the best all-around player on the court, and she's playing with Paige Beckers, who arguably you could consider her the best all-around player on the court. But Sarah could do some of the things that Paige can do, and Paige can't do some of the things that Sarah can do. That's why I would say that that's not true. But it's also, I also think that people don't realize how difficult it is to be as good a player as Sarah is, and as good a player as she showed, and still kind of have to take a back seat to Paige, because Paige she's been there longer, and she's the leader. And I'm sure Sarah is happy with that because she just wants to hoop. But let's face it, when you're the best player in the country and you come in and you become the best player in college basketball, and that's just a tough transition. So I think she handled that with a lot of grace, with the ability to just kind of like block everything out. And I think that's a huge superpower for her going forward, and why all the pressure of this season is not going to really kind of phase her at all. And so to be that impactful and that young on a title team is just absolutely special. And it sets the bar incredibly high. Prospects for this season. She absolutely should be the favorite for the National Player of the Year candidate. We've already talked about it. If the WNBA draft allowed her to go, she'd be the number 1 pick. She's that good. What does she need to improve? She can always sharpen the details, a little bit of footwork, making sure she's always kind of active, where she doesn't stand flat-footed, avoiding lazy fouls, growing into more of a vocal leader, right? even media training. All of that helps. Having a dedicated media training to kind of go in and do these interviews and kind of sound like, for lack of a better word, Paige Beckers. And I'm not saying that Paige is inauthentic. That's who she is. But you can find your authentic voice, but in a way that doesn't leave you open for criticism. And anybody that really criticizes Paige Beckers, I mean, dude, get a life. She's living her best life. She's doing all the things that she needs to do. And she's humble. I think that's the biggest thing. You can go the other way. I think media training can go either way. If you're brash, if you're kind of a great example of the team is KK Arnold. I would consider her more of a brash player, and I love it. I could go either way. Like for me, you can be, I go to the men's side. You can be Dan Hurley and kind of be in your face, or you could be like Gino and kind of just like subtle jabs. I've done it before. I'm kind of like whatever. He's kind of mastered that ability to give you a soundbite without rubbing it in someone's face. However, if you're who you are and you hone that craft, just be who you are. I think that's the biggest thing about her growth. Continue to be who you are. Do not change for anybody, and focus in on blinders, right? You're legitimately, you're the if not the best player in the country, you're close, and you can be this year. I think she could go, from averaging 17 points a game to over 20. Some of her efficiency numbers need to get a little better. And if she doesn't average more points, it's because, again, same thing with Azzi, is because there's a lot of mouths to feed. There's a ton of talent on this team. And it's just going to be interesting to see what Gino does from that perspective. So the challenge for her for this season will be consistency, proving to the naysayers that it's not just about playing on a stacked team. And yes, that's tricky because this 25-26 squad is loaded as well, and even potentially more talented. And if UConn doesn't go undefeated, the sheer talent level with Sarah, Azzi, and others, and the depth will cover as we continue this preview series to absolutely overwhelm most opponents. So while 40-0 is a real possibility, the bigger truth is this: heading into fall, I don't see another team even close to UConn. For the Huskies, it's national title or bust. Azzi stepping into her leadership role. Sarah continuing to nurture the ability to be that all-around stud, just talent that she is. Together, they're the duo, and the difference between UConn being another contender or a team that runs the table and goes down as one of the greatest to ever play. This has been another HoopsCat Pod. I'm your host, Mark Zanetto. Go check us out. See you next time.
Let's get it, let's get it. Let's get it, let's get it. Yeah. UConn, baby. Home of the champions.